Alright, finally. This should be the final episode, hopefully, of this devlog series I've been doing over the past month. And this is a massive one. So, if you didn't notice, I didn't upload last week. And it's simply because I was really locked in just finishing everything to do with this app. And hopefully, by the time this video is out, another week or so, the beta is also going to drop. So, basically, the app's almost done. This is going to be more of a chiller video, more of me talking over what I've done. Kind of like the other videos, but with less editing because, I have no time. But anyway, this is a massive change log. If I've counted the total number of commits, I believe it's about 140. It's 2 weeks of work. We've got CSV imports now so that real people with real bank data can use it instead of, always manually inputting stuff. The budget cycle engine means the app actually understands your financial life. Remember, this is built for students, and students often have invariable income time. So we've built around that. Blue Eyes has become an actual decision system. So it's not just warning you now, it's also thinking. And now, Finney's become a real character. There's an identity to the app now. Okay, so let's begin all of this with a simple question that I kept avoiding. How does someone actually start using this app? Okay, you download it, you log in, and then what? Right? You manually type in every transaction you've ever made. That's not a product, that's pretty much homework. And I'd been putting off solving it because it felt like a lot of work and the gamification stuff was more fun to build. But then I decided last week that I'll finally sit down and do it properly. The CSV import. See, the thing is, if we wanted to do automatic bank sync, that would cost money. And I'm going to reserve that feature for the paid version of the app. So, instead of that, now if you have a bank account, which presumably you do, you can export your transaction history as a CSV file and just drop it into Finance Guy. The app figures out the rest. I mean, of course, you have to sometime, figure out how to manage the column formats, but it most of the time handles it properly. It classifies debits and credits. It handles the weird edge cases as well, like commas, unknown headers, duplicate transitions, which is really big pain. So every import gets a fingerprint. So if you accidentally import the same file twice, or your bank overlaps date ranges between exports, the app just quietly ignores it and you don't end up with a bunch of different data that you didn't want in there. And then week 2, I got a little bit more ambitious. So the budget system before was fine. You set limits, you tracked against them, classic stuff, but it didn't really understand time. It didn't know when your pay cycle was. It didn't know that you got paid on the 15th and your rent comes out on the 1st and stuff like that. It was basically just assuming that, hey, let's start from May 1st and end on May 30th, right? It was going to do those monthly cycles. So I built that budget cycle engine. I set an anchor day, and then that's where your financial month starts. And then you can essentially just make sure to plan according to that. And speaking of planning, there's an actual surface for that now. We have proper budget planning. You set up allocations, you can adjust mid-cycle and it logs the adjustment, and at the end of a cycle, there's a budget review too. There's rollover mode, so then any unspent money can carry forward into the next month's plan. It sounds like a lot of infrastructure went into this, and that's because a lot of infrastructure did go into it, but the outcome is kind of simple. You open the app and it tells you, hey, here's what you can spend today, here's what's coming this week, and here's what'll land you at the end of the month if you keep going on at this pace. And then there's Blue Eyes. Okay, so Blue Eyes, I said in the last devlog again, it was already a thing that I was proud of. Listen, Blue Eyes will never ever be complete. I haven't even deployed the real live machine learning model yet, which I'm currently working on in the background. I don't think I'm going to make a devlog on that, but we'll see. So Blue Eyes is now, I don't even want to call it a feature anymore. It's more like a system that lives inside the app and thinks about your money separately from you. Here's what changed. Before, Blue Eyes gave you a risk score and a recommendation. Now it gives you a decision. That's the difference, right? So a risk score is kind of abstract and useless information almost. A decision is like, hey, here's what I think you should do. Here's what happens to your budget if you do it. Here's what happens if you don't. And here's my confidence level. And here's why I think this is. It normalizes merchants, so now it actually recognizes patterns. You go to the same coffee shop 4 times a week, and Blue Eye starts understanding that as a category of behavior rather than 4 separate transactions. So it actually stores the feature snapshots for every prediction so that the ML side has clean training data as well. It generates impact reports, not just, this purchase is risky. I also added an outcomes tracker, so when Blue Eyes tells you not to buy something and you buy it anyway, it knows and it learns from that, which is either very useful or slightly ominous, depending on how you look at it. And finally, this is a funny little ad, just giving personality to the app. There's Finney now. So the companion has a name now, Finney. It's this little goblin accountant with a ledger, and I'm saying goblin affectionately here. He's extremely competent, and I trust him with at least my finances, more than I trust myself with it. So yeah, Finney is a real UI system now. There's a companion context, a reward feedback context, level up celebrations. There's reward toasts, a gold ledger. There used to be a reward item catalog, but I've kind of shut it down for now at least, because that's way too much art for anyone to draw, and I'm doing all of this for free right now, so that's gonna be in the backlog for now. So yeah, no, so when you do something good financially, suppose stay in budget, hit a goal, keep a streak, Finney reacts. There's a moment, it's not just a number going up quietly. I just want that emotional layer and the analytical layer to feel connected. And then just some more miscellaneous stuff that I think so I added notifications, bill reminders, budget alerts, little habit nudges, weekly digests, which I'm mentioning briefly because it's important infrastructure, but also if I go into the Supabase edge functions and dispatch systems, I'll be here for another hour just talking. Oh yeah, I also added forget password, reset password, update password, extremely boring stuff, but absolutely necessary. But it's finally done. So yeah, that's 2 weeks. The real important feature here is CSV import, so that real people can actually start, right? And Blue Eyes can learn from your transaction history through that. And hopefully by the time we launch, I don't know when Apple is going to approve this app, but whenever they do, hopefully by then we'll have an actual machine learning model set up on the back end that you can actually contact with the paid version. So let's see how that goes. And that's that. I'm sorry I haven't been really active on YouTube. I've just been really busy. I've got my internship. I've got a job. I've got other projects. I've got finance guy. If you notice the background in this YouTube video, I've been playing a lot of Minecraft too, modded server with my friends. So I've been kind of busy. I'm sorry. I haven't been active on the server or anything. I have a hackathon coming soon, so there should be a video on that. But just know that the silence doesn't mean that I'm quitting. It just maybe means that I'm refocusing my priorities on some other things that I have going around. Anyway, yeah, that's that. Waitlist Finance Guy. Join the Discord server. Subscribe and like, or like and subscribe, whatever. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.